This show is about your life, how to make it better, how to make more from it, how to love deeper, how to share it with others. This journey is about connection to your dreams, with topics centering on love, money, sexuality, and energy that unites it all. This show will change your life. For years, I've coached people in easy-to-learn skills and have seen incredible changes. I'm here to teach you those skills as a coach and hopefully a new friend. Hi, I'm Kyle. Come along with me as you move along your path of life success. Welcome to the Kyle Phoenix Show.
So, we're talking about money, and now we're talking about some form of employment to generate money into your bank account, into your home, into your lifestyle. One, you have to look at what are your experience. It is now pretty much mandatory that you have a resume. Included in things like Microsoft Office are templates for resumes, and if it's your first resume, or if you've only had a couple of jobs, you can start there. You can also go to your local library or to your local bookstore or order a book from someplace like Amazon to actually get a book that would help you design a resume, especially if you may have been in a field or just starting out where you don't have things to actually put on a resume just yet. One of the things you might want to look at if you're building up your resume is here are some things that are really important. Your education's important, your volunteer experience is important, as well as your skills are important. So, first you want to start with your education. If you've gone to high school and completed high school, you might want to put that on there. If you've gone to college, if you've gone further in college, detailed information. You'll see in a lot of resume templates ask you to kind of flesh out what degree you got, what you were studying, what your interests were, and as you have more and more education, you can start leaving off things that aren't as important. If you've done any kind of specialized education, like taking certain kinds of training courses or different kinds of certifications, those things you want to include under education. Skills deal with more practical, physical stuff that you may have, like computer skills, that you know how to use Microsoft Word very well. That's actually going to fall under skill, not so much under education, unless there's some special reason under education that something like computer program would fall under, like you've either taught the course or you did a very specialized course in that actual program, so that it graduated from something that people generally might know to some kind of advanced level of training in it. Then you want to look at volunteer work. Even if you volunteered for no money, and I volunteered at several places for no money, that actually constitutes practical experience. That if you volunteered somewhere doing a mail out, if you volunteered running a help desk, running a telephone line, running tabling an event, teaching, different things like that are actual skills and comparable to work in the real world that you can list. That you did this, how many people you may have interacted with, if you were in charge of supervising others, if you were in charge of reporting to someone exactly what occurred. That's important information. People think sometimes just because it's volunteering or because it's giving or because it's something they kind of fell into that it's not valuable. But it is valuable because what it says to an employer is that you have concrete skills that you might not even realize are actual skills. People skills, customer service skills, office skills, things that you may have learned at the volunteer program that you've never completely constituted as work or as professional employment level work. And also it gives something nice on your resume for you to talk about with the employer when you're having an interview. Little things like that bring up ways to have a discussion, ways to have discussions about your abilities, about your interests, about different things. And it also kind of says a little bit about your character that you would volunteer as well. So it's a great thing to put on your resume. And then, of course, your employment experience. One of the things you want to look at in employment is health insurance. Are you being offered health insurance? How is the health insurance stacking up to if you have two job offers? And is there going to be a copay or actually a co-insurance payment or premium payment directly out of your pay for the insurance? Most places, large companies, buy a bundle of essentially coverage, and people have to pay into it. $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $100, $200, depends upon the complexity of the coverage. It might also depend upon how many dependents you have that are coming under the coverage with you. So that's something you might want to ask about in a job interview, and how much does that generally run? Because if it's a difference between you paying $100 a month at one job and another job, the difference between you paying $200 a month, but they're about within $1,000 of salary, then you might want to consider, well, gee, I'm going to be paying out more money at this job, and then the difference of them paying me $1,000 more money. So that's one way of looking at it. You also want to look at, there's a new thing, it's now called a flex plan. And essentially what that is at the beginning of the year, or when you start with your job, you're allowed to decide a certain amount of pre-tax money. So say your job is $50,000 a year. Generally the limit's about $5,000, so you can say, you know something, I want to put $5,000 off of that $50,000 into my flexible plan account, and then that's used for out-of-pocket medical expenses. How does this affect your salary? Now what happens is your $50,000 salary suddenly becomes a $45,000 salary, and therefore is taxed differently. But you're responsible for that flex plan money being used up within the calendar time, which is generally a year. Even if you say start in July, you might still have to spend up all of that money by December. So you kind of want to figure out, how much money do you need to spend on yourself medically out of pocket within this period of time? It can be a great way of saving money as well as changing your tax bracket so that you're not taxed as high as you usually would be. Another thing that's generally offered is a 401k or a 403b plan. And you have to decide how much, again, of your ultimate salary or your entire salary that you want to contribute to these plans, generally weekly or monthly, or it comes out if you're paid bi-weekly, it comes out. But overall, you may decide, you know something, 3%, 4%, 6%, 10%, generally you can go to about 15 or 20%. One of the considerations that does happen is the federal government mandates that you can't go over a certain amount a year, generally between about $14,500 and I think it's up to about $16,500. Check on that. So one of the things you might look at is you say, you know something, what would that bring me all the way up to? That this money is going to be taken out, again, pre-tax. And again, this is starting to get into the mechanics of how people control their money and control their taxes. $5,000 off of $50,000 brings you down to $45,000. And maybe another $15,000 off of $45,000 brings you down to $30,000. You've just jumped down a tax bracket from 28% in federal taxes to about 15% in federal taxes. You can control your money in this way. So that's another question when I talk about on a job. Do you offer a 401k plan, or do you have a 403b plan? Do you have some kind of savings plan for this money I'll be earning? And then you want to figure out with yourself or with your partner, how much are we going to contribute of this pre-tax money that we'll have control over, that if my job ends, may be part of my emergency fund, maybe part of my retirement account. How much do we want in money? And this is a great discussion to have with a partner, and this is also one of the benefits of having a partner, because you might be able to say, you know something, because we're sharing expenses in a household, I don't have the same need of $50,000 a year because we're both earning $50,000 a year. So I might decide to put the entirety, the max, $16,000 into a 401k plan to save for retirement, or sometimes people even use it and they can take loans out for things like purchasing a home or purchasing a car or going to school. So that's something else that you want to look at. There are lots of great ways that teamwork, as well as your own individual knowledge of how to manage money, can put you ahead in life. Most people end up with no money because they take more time to do more entertaining and fun things than just a short amount of time to study how money works, and most importantly, how to make your money work for you.